Oh, hello everybody, this is Dusty Circuit here, and today, I figured I'd kind of do this sort of a video, because just recently I've done another birthday build for a certain player, of course that being Flaming, and I just figured I'd do this kind of video just to show basically the entire process that in which I create notebook songs for whether it be for birthday builds or any other reason I want to build notebook songs in Minecraft. And so I guess let's just dive into this. So basically, in order for me to create the notebook songs, I use kind of a certain variety of programs to make and that you in applications to make that happen. But all of them that are downloadable for free, and and of course all the programs that I use you can download for free, and all the Minecraft mods I use you can also download for free. And I'm gonna include links in the description to all the tools and mods and programs I use to make this stuff happen. And so basically, kind of the first step in creating a notebook song, I have to actually come up with whatever song I want to recreate. Just 1 second, I want to switch over to uh, I'm gonna switch over to my web browser, so just give me a moment. So if I were to basically create a notebook song of any song I want, first I have to find one. Let's say if I wanted to create a notebook song out of any song that I wanted, I first have to decide on a song that first. And I'm just using Flaming's song as an example here, but this is going to be uploaded after the birthday, so this is not going to be a spoiler for any of it. So, of course, there's usually one of two different ways that I create these notebook songs. First method I try to go for, which is I guess the easier method, is to find a MIDI file of a song, and it's one of these links that I downloaded it from. It's like literally what I do is I just Google whatever song I want, and then of course these aren't free, but there is one where I downloaded it for free. But I don't remember. It's one of these links, but anyway, either that or it was one of those videos. And I typically look for these kind of piano tutorials because it's easy to see like where all the different notes are, and it's like I can basically listen to the song in like a simplified form. So say if we play this first for a moment. I believe this would have been where I would have downloaded mine from, but it's basically, well, So that's kind of the one of two, the first method. Second method, if for some reason I cannot find MIDI files of the song I want to recreate, and my next option would be sheet music. And I am not like actually all that. I actually don't even know much about music theory and like really. It's like like the last time I even remember working with this would have probably been back in elementary school. But it's basically, I mean, I guess those of you who do know kind of how to read it, you could kind of like piece together the noteblock song from there. And there's even many different resources about like basically how like kind of how to translate that to notebooks in Minecraft. 'Cause, like for instance, this article on the Minecraft wiki about notebooks could also be helpful, because it's also got kind of all the relevant information regarding the notes and the different instruments you can do. Well, I'll actually pause this so you can pause the video and read this. Yeah, this is could be useful for some people. And of course, here's also kind of another helpful article I just found thanks to Google. And so kind of the next part of this video, once you have your either your MIDI file or kind of the sheet music for the song that you want to make. Next you're gonna want to open Minecraft Noteblock Studio. And if you don't have if you don't have it, it's free to download, and it's actually very handy. It's a very handy tool to assist in creating your Noteblock songs in Minecraft. And you actually don't have to use it if you don't want to. Like, you can just copy it straight from your sheet music to like a creative world. So like, you could just build your song up in a creative world if you wanted to. But this application really like allows you to quickly change like where the notes are, and versus like in a creative world you have to, if you realize you messed it up, you have to move the entire thing in creative mode, or maybe if you have world edit on your particular world, that might help you out there. But I mean, considering the Noteblock Studio application is free, I highly recommend you grab that. Anyway, then we're going to check that out next. So when you first load up your Noteblock Studio, you kind of get this screen. And of course, if you're just creating if you're just piecing together your song with your sheet music, you want to create this new file. Or if you're importing from a MIDI file, you want to click this option. But kind of for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you this option. So so you basically want to click on your MIDI file, then open, and then you don't have to worry about this, just click import. And here we have our song here, and you can play it. And of course, so here we have our song, and you can either play it or you can kind of edit it if at your just pleasing. But keep in mind that any Noteblock songs that you actually want to like build in your Minecraft world, you have to kind of keep in mind that, of course, it says up in this corner here, fully compatible. What that means is it's compatible like with Minecraft in terms of the timing and the notes that are used. Because over here is the tempo of the song, and of course right now it's 10 ticks per second. But as you can see, if I drag this and I change this anything, like say if I leave it to here, it says data pack only, but on older versions it said no longer compatible. But what you want to keep in mind is, if you want to make your song in Minecraft, it has to be 10 ticks per second, 5 ticks per second, or 2.5. It has to be those three numbers, or if it's not compatible with Minecraft. Another thing is, of course, on the keyboard here, there's these sections. Apparently, there's this kind of this white section, and there are these red sections that, of course, you can kind of add note blocks as you choose. But And another thing you kind of have to follow if you want your song to work in Minecraft, you can only use notes from the white section because there's only like 24 notes in Minecraft. And it's like these notes, these higher and lower notes exist, but you can't actually use them in Minecraft without a data pack. Just so it's keep that in mind. But this particular song actually follows both of those. And when I actually created this song, I think I lowered this to 5 because 10 was just too fast. And so just when you're ready to export your song, just go to File, Export as Schematic. And of course from here you kind of have a bunch of different options, but what this does is it generates your song kind of as those I guess you probably if you watch YouTube videos in Minecraft about the different Notebox songs, you might know that those kind of where it has the Notebox song kind of laid out in a line and a minecart track where basically it's the different parts in the Notebox song. It like powers the minecart wheel and he basically moves you along so you can keep hearing the Notebox. But actually, I kind of do things a little bit differently because I'm often building Notebox songs in a more compact area so that I could fit them inside a birthday cake. And so basically what I do is of course I kind of change like the repeaters per row, but and also I keep these dimensions in mind. So like how it says the size is 143 by 43 by 7. That's in Minecraft blocks. And say if I wanted a certain size, and I think for the actual build on ACO, I went for 20 repeaters per row. And I turn this off because I don't want the minecart track. And just from here, I just clicked export. And just kind of called it whatever I want. And we don't want to save because you're not actually making anything. But so next, I'm gonna actually show you how once you have your schematic ready, how to actually build it in Minecraft. And this is an instance that I created specifically for creative mode and for carpets for farm testing, but we're gonna load this up right now. This is just the only instance I have with world edit. This is just basically a world that I've created specifically for the designing of this birthday build. So it's basically once I got my schematic of all the note blocks, what I did was I just pasted it there. And if you can see all those white blocks that I placed, so basically I kind of divided this up into, I think it's probably 6 or 7 layers. And then like, I kind of divided this up like I said, that's one layer, then that's another layer, then another, and another. and then I kind of just stack them over here. This kind of just basically in order to get the song to fit inside of a birthday cake. Is this just what I did? And it's actually like the beginning of it is like over here. And then it just loops around there through the top and then goes down to this next layer, then it goes through that and then onto that layer and so on until it gets to the bottom. And so it's like when you first get the schematic, it's basically when you first so in order to import it, first of all, you're gonna want to kind of go into your Minecraft files, and so kind of the easiest way to do that is go into this resource packs folder. And just by clicking on this, and then go back one, and then this is everything in this folder is all your schematics. And of course, when I export it from Noteblock Studio, I go to this folder and put it in here. And well, for me, it's a bit different because I use multi-MC, but if you just use the regular Minecraft launcher, you have to go into your app data and find all this stuff. Or you could just use the Open Resource Pack folder. And the reason I have two different versions of the schematic is the Minecraft Noteblock Studio exported schematic files, which of course World Edit use and MC Edit have used and have been like the standard for schematics for like several years. But Lightmatica has its own file format for schematics that are called Lightmatics. And before you before you use this in Lightmatica, you want to transfer this into a Lightmatic. But that is if you're actually building the Noteblock song as it's exported from Noteblock Studio. But in my case, I want to take this and make it into this form so it could fit inside of a birthday cake. So this is where you kind of want to there's kind of like a few different ways you can do this, but I have this particular world where I have World Edit installed. And just to kind of make this easier, I've used World Edit to do this kind of process. And first from there, if you're just using World Edit in single player, typically World Edit schematics are under config, and then World Edits and schematics. And I just put the schematic for this here is the schematic for the Noteblock song, but I just renamed it to song just so to make it easier to do the next following step, which is to select it in game. And then you're going to do schematics and list. And then those are all the schematics that I have saved. And And then the one you want to load, just put the name of that one in. And then just do paste. And it's a big schematic, so it took a little bit a while. This particular one I didn't export it without the minecart track, so I'm gonna have to remove that just for this time. So just basically once you have this kind of structure, it's basically kind of what I did from here was I basically, oh, and it's actually playing the song. I just don't mind that. So I guess that was just funny on my part. But so basically what I did is I just went to the kind of all the way to the end here, and then I just counted over a certain number of levels or rows of note blocks. So it's like I count each of these lines as one row, and I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least for this particular note block song. And then I just would mark the end of it with a block. And then once I made my selection, I do copy and then paste. And so basically what I've done is I've copied this section and moved it over here. And then from there, I just kind of start the next what the next level would be, which I just select the row just after the glass block I placed. Then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I mark off with another glass block. And then I select the rest of it. And copy. And this one I actually am going to flip around. Because what it has to do is the end of it. If it's the end of that segment has to connect onto this one. And so basically what I do is first I just paste it. And then we like, oh, it's over there. So then I just do undo. And then if I paste again, I can kind of see where it's going to connect. The redstone's going to connect. And I actually packed mine in pretty tightly because I wanted to maximize the space that I had to work with. So basically I just stack them all like this. And then just kind of, then I basically just connect the redstone together like so. And of course, keep in mind if you're going to use repeaters, you're going to want to kind of keep the delay, the timing in mind. So it's basically like if I need to add a repeater to connect these two together, I'm adding another tick of delay. So to even that out, I need to reduce the delay on that repeater. So it's still basically a 2-tick delay, even though it's 2 repeaters. And then basically I just rinse and repeat that process until I end up with what I have over there. And then from here, I just basically, I kind of cut out some of the extra stone layers, just that were unnecessary. And then this is just, and then from here, I just made the schematic of what the finished notebook song would be. And then ordinarily from here is where I would probably transfer the song to Artcraft Creative so that I can actually start building the cake. But for this particular cake, Riley actually started building it on ACO beforehand. And typically, I would do the notebook song first, and then Riley would build the cake around it. But for this particular one, Riley did the cake first. So I made it into like this cube fashion for it to actually fit inside the cake. So in one moment, I'm gonna actually go over to ACO to show the finished build. And so here we are back on ACO, and thanks to the magic of editing, we'll be at the build and next moment. And this is going to be, and as I said earlier in the video, this is going to be going up after the actual birthday, but this is being recorded the day before. So it's just that when I realized this is really the only opportunity I think I have to do this before this actually goes into the birthday portals and is only allowed for that player to access it. So basically from there, I just built it inside this cake, and in a moment you'll get to see how I put it in here. And this is basically the exact same build that you saw in the creative world, but only it's inside the cake now. And the reason the note blocks look different for me, I have installed a resource pack that actually shows what the different notes of all the note blocks are. And it's this right here, and literally those are all the ACO music packs, but this is basically if you want to download this, it's this pack here. So I'll probably link that in the description, but if I don't, you'll at least have the name for it. And that actually really helps me a lot because also like when I'm building this from the schematic, and of course by the way, like after I've made this, I make a schematic of this using Lightmatica, and then that's what I built this off of. And it's just Lightmatica for me is just a huge like time saver, because it's one of those things that has a learning curve, and it looks complicated at first, but once you master like like once you learn just the basics of the mod, it becomes really useful to me, and it's like it's even changed my play style and like how I do these large builds in survival Minecraft. And so it's basically the one feature of what the Lightmatica that really helps me out a lot in these notebook songs is, say, if I were to place down a notebook and start tuning it, it actually, if it's not the correct note, it doesn't show up correctly on the schematic. But if it is the correct note, it does. I'm just gonna try to demonstrate that to you really quick. So it's basically, it's just, I placed the note block, but it's showing it as this. I believe this means incorrect block state, I think. And then from here, I can just tune the note block until it's correct. That's that's just a very powerful feature of Lightmatica for building these note block songs. Is it's like basically, since each note block has like 24 different states, or I guess 25 if you count like 0, but like 25 states for all those note blocks. And I think this song alone has like probably several hundred to a few thousand of them. And it's just that helps a whole lot. And then basically from there, it's just kind of build it and then put the finishing touches, and then it's ready for whoever's birthday has been built for. And this is a bit of a standard feature I do on all my notebook songs now, because like literally the very first notebook song I ever did, which if memory serves, I think was Taliesin's birthday, and it's like literally I built a notebook song, and it's like basically it was like a much shorter song than this was, but it was basically a player would spam the button, and it would like send multiple redstone pulses, and it basically would cause the song to like play multiple times. It's just kind of gets annoying, especially if you're trying to host the events and just have us listen to how the song was meant to be listened to. So I kind of came up with a bit of a solution to that with my redstone ingenuity, which is basically I'm using what's an RS Snorlatch to basically as an anti-spam filter, or an anti-spam circuit. So it's basically you one button press, it changes the state of this so that this redstone over here is lit up instead of this redstone. And then that sends a pulse to this monostable circuit, and this pulse lengthener I added later because for some reason, if you just feed like a short pulse into this, it makes the note box sound differently than if it's like a longer pulse, say from a button press. So, kind of I added this just to lengthen the pulse a little bit, just to get the same effect as a button. So, but basically, if someone wants to spam the button while the song is playing, what will happen is it's going to pulse this again and again and again, but since this RS NOR latch is flipped over to this state, it will no longer accept from that input. And effectively, it does not allow any more button presses until the end. It reaches the end of the song is played. And of course, that redstone line basically is connected to the very end of the song. And like the very end of the note block chain is connected to that redstone, which is down there, and you could probably barely see, but it's down there, and it just crosses over. I guess it ended up with that being at the opposite end of where I needed to take it, so I had to make a long line that goes underneath and then up and winds up through here. And then when it reaches the end of the song, it basically triggers this, which then flips the RS/NOR latch back to this stage, so that it's ready for another button press. And that's kind of how I worked, how I've been. That's basically how my anti-spam prevention works. And that's going to be a standard feature for all of my noteblock songs. And it kind of has been for quite a while. And this is kind of the end of this particular, I guess I want to call it a tutorial, but it's more of like how I do this. And my hope is maybe somebody someday might even put together a noteblock song for me if they watch this video, but kind of don't want to get my hopes up for that because from what I understand, I'm basically I don't know anybody else who's on NCO that knows more about redstone and like building and like Lightmatica and such. It's more familiar with it than I am. So it's like it's something I have that most people don't have. And yeah. So anyway, Frank, thank you for watching this video, and I hope any of you found this helpful. And remember to rate, comment, like, and subscribe. And this is Dusty Circuit signing off. Bye.